the Happy Hour podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour podcast epic episode, a quarter of a century, number 25.
Congratulations.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very cool.
Who ever thought we would have got here? Got my good friends here, Jon Lehman and Kurt Dulmes. And let's get this started right, guys. Welcome to Happy Hour. So good.
You were late.
So what do we got here? We
I
got Central Waters and Amherst, the Tomorrow River, the Gilles, which is a lager. I've never heard of anybody called Gilles.
No, I'm glad you pronounced it because I probably would have pronounced it wrong.
Well, Jason Blenker is part owner of Central Waters and Amherst, a very big popular brewery up there, right by the factory in Amherst, solar powered. And the Tomorrow River is the river that runs right through Amherst. Really cool river, some trout streams.
Gotcha. Prost.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Prost.
Thank you.
That's how it is. My first time.
Tastes like a lager.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got good flavor though. It's got a little bit of heart to
It's a
it.
lager.
It's like it's not a Busch Light. It's not watered down. I think it's got some
that's
good
for
flavor.
sure.
I could drink these all night. I'm not going to get a gut ache.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Delicious. Thank you.
I had to buy this again, Jason. If you're listening, I keep buying your beer. We do supposedly have a sponsor coming in that's going to give us beer. Our very first sponsor for the Happy Hour, and he hasn't come through. He hasn't come through yet, or either has their brewery. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
pump them up yet.
Don't promote it yet.
Well,
Okay, let's get this going. Why don't you guys? We've been doing that lately, especially with coworkers, and you guys both have good stories. So, tell me who you are, how long you worked here, and then kind of how we got to know each other. Like, how did you start here?
Old guy goes first.
old guy.
I mean, person
You're
here
the old
longest.
guy. You're older. I've worked here longer.
Let's do ages. How old are you?
I'm 49.
49?
44.
44, right in the middle, 47. Perfect. That's probably why we have a unique bond. We're kind of the same age, too. Your kids are a lot younger.
Oldest is a freshman in high school.
Youngest?
Third grade.
Third
Yeah.
grade. Right. So, again, I'm kind of in the middle. Junior down to fifth grade, and you're wrapping things up.
I am. I got two seniors, a senior in college and a senior in high school. So
You're almost free living.
getting there.
Wow,
Getting
we
there.
got such a long ways to go yet, John.
That'll be a cool chapter.
I'm down to a
Life,
few
though.
weeks,
You're
yeah.
probably gonna have like 7 more, right? And you're kind of like
No,
half Amish.
no.
Nothing wrong with the, if you're listening, Amish people, nothing wrong with you guys.
No.
Not judging.
Nope.
God bless
I have
you.
a large family. I'm blessed.
Yep. Okay, so I guess you're up.
You want me to lead? All right. I've been with Drexel for 18 years, February 24th, so I've just hit my 18-year anniversary.
What do you do there?
I am a kitchen and bath designer extraordinaire.
Always have been.
Always have been. I was doing that before I was at Drexel.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And how many designers were at the company, Campbellsport Berlin Building Supply, when you started 18 years ago?
It's Chris.
Yeah, you were number 2.
Yeah. It was Chris.
Wow, you were second.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're up to 30 something now.
Yeah,
But,
I didn't know. Chris didn't have a helper, like an Allie or something. Some girls that were
Oh, I
helping.
do think she had an assistant or
So
something.
he wasn't
up there.
really 2, but sure, go with it.
So
Just
I'm going
change
to go with it.
Yeah, not 3,
because
just 2.
Is that person still here? No, and I don't even remember.
That doesn't
She
count.
had
You can't
an
just say like, what number you are after everyone quit or fired or retired. But we'll say 2.
But,
Okay,
hey,
that's a better story.
You're interrupting. I didn't get to finish my story.
That's how pods are. That's how we do this.
So anyway, you asked the backstory. So I was actually.
Yeah, we're working on it.
I was working at.
Spit it out.
I just want to. Yeah, I can say it because they're no longer in business. I was working at Valco, and I was actually.
Building's still there. Who's in there? It looks like crap. It looks like
I don't
hell.
know. I don't know who is.
The
in
sign's still up, right?
it. Yeah.
It looks like hell.
Yeah, it's
Sad.
just a rundown warehouse.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who's actually in there, but I was actually calling on builders in the Berlin area, and I ran into Craig Johnson playing pool one night it was actually a bar in Red Granite.
League?
I think it was Gorillas.
League?
No.
CJ's a good stick. Did he beat you? Bet he beat you.
Let's just go with yes, because it was quite a while ago. I don't remember, and pool isn't my forte.
So then definitely yes, because Craig's, that's his forte.
I'm guessing.
He's good at it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing. But so that was a different era.
Gorilla's still open?
It is, but it's under, I think it's called like the mailbox or post office or something.
Yeah.
Something
Gorilla's is a
else.
good name.
So anyway, from talking with Craig that evening, I was asking about what, it was funny because we had a conversation about this not that long ago. He was actually kind of asking me questions, conditioning me, kind of working on, getting me pulled over to Berlin Building Supply at the time. And I was questioning him for leads on contractors. So we were kind of working each other.
They didn't have cabinets. We didn't have cabinets, Berlin Building Supply at the time.
I think you had two.
Was maybe
little
Chris coming
displays.
up once a week, or
yeah, somebody was coming up.
yeah,
in
Jamie
the area,
maybe,
I think.
Jamie Schultz, Jamie Enright, Jay's
I don't know.
Ride.
I don't know.
Shout out
Sounds
to
pretty
Jamie, shout out to
typical,
Jay.
though, both you guys trying to poach information
We
off
were-
each
we were
other.
totally
So it's
doing
poker
that.
game. You were playing a 7 of hearts. He was playing a 9.
Yeah, that's totally. And then
Right.
I was actually I was working one day at Velco. I got a call from Craig, asked if I would be willing to do an interview. Did an interview, and of course, obviously, I said yes. Always willing to, Back then, I was always willing. Now I'm not.
Wow.
That was close. That was close. Good recovery there.
I didn't know where you were going with that. And this is officially my 2 weeks, Joel. It's been on the pod. So
Thought I'd save it for the podcast.
Right. Rest is history.
great story. Great story. Awesome. You sold a lot of cabinets in your days. Millions
Still
and
am.
millions and millions. Think of all the kitchens, all the things
Yeah.
you've done. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Are you like me? Go around and point at all the houses when you take your family
Yeah.
around? I got a kitchen in there. I got a
I
kitchen
have
in there.
done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Good
done that.
times.
Yep.
My
I got
kids were
kitchen
probably
there.
10 years or 12 years old before they realized I wasn't a builder. Where they're like, so you didn't actually build it or do anything?
I think my daughter
not
still wonders once in
really.
a while.
Not actually. I don't
You guys
actually.
don't build it?
No. What is it you do again,
You don't
Dad?
know that we're not builders?
I was kidding.
Oh my gosh. Death of you,
I
Holden.
really like him.
Yeah, he's the worst,
Yeah.
for sure.
Isn't it supposed to be like The Office, where you just kind of silently sit behind the camera?
Yeah.
No,
Obviously
he's
not.
engagement.
Yeah.
He's got a role here.
Just so I
Office,
understand
you do
what's going
occasionally
on.
Yeah, he
look
plays a
camera.
role. Plays a role. Big part of the pod.
All right.
Always.
So how many people do you think we've lost by now already, or is this engaging? Pretty good, probably, huh?
Cabinet sales, 0. We're at
Yeah,
0
yeah.
viewership.
All right, let's pick it
All
up.
right, so okay. Well, I guess moving on to Kurt.
And here we go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So your story.
All right. Well,
Well, who hired you? Before we finish up, sorry, going back.
Albert did.
Yeah, my dad. How was that? Remember it?
The interview?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
explain
remember
that.
You guys grilled me. You were in on it too.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was you, your dad, and Chris, the three of you. So
Had to be intimidating.
Craig was there, of course,
Yeah, of
too,
course,
because
right.
he drove me there. He picked me up.
So one interview, lock it in. Let's get this
Lock
done.
it in. Yep, locked it in. You guys were just hammering,
Yeah.
but it was fun.
you
And
made
we
it
liked
through.
you right away.
I did.
Right away from day one, I'm like, this guy is good. I knew right away.
Good
I knew
hire.
that part,
Well, I appreciate
Good
it.
hire.
apparently.
Yeah, for sure.
18 years. All right, Kurt.
All right. I don't know. My title is quarterback. What that means is basically I help people project manage, help them budget, all kinds of building projects, real small stuff to real big commercial stuff, mostly residential construction.
Generically outside salesman.
Outside salesman, account manager's
Right.
been a title of
Yeah,
the
there you
past,
go.
but yeah, that's what I do.
OSR.
OSR. Wow, that's going back. Yeah.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah.
We never had OSR. I never liked that.
No, that's back when I was at my former company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been with Drexel since very tail end of 2009. And yeah,
And
Joel?
where were you before that?
I was with ProBuild
For how long?
since I was in high school. So
High school, yeah, so you
25
always had-
years or something like that.
Sawdust has always been under your fingernails.
It
These guys
has
are
been.
like veterans, Holden.
Yeah,
Like wily veterans. Can you tell that? Like this is what they do. They bleed it.
it's just one of those gigs, man. It started in high school where I could just jump from high school and they let me have as many hours as I could give them, and I needed money, so it worked out
So
good.
you started in the yard.
Yep.
And what'd you do there before you were outside sales?
Just part-time in the yard, putting orders away, helping clients that came through.
What is the yard? I always hear people like mentioning.
So like the materials that we buy, right? So like the outdoor stuff, like the OSB and the lumber and the 2x4s. So it's called a lumber yard. I don't know exactly. So it's like a cattle yard. So like we drop materials there. That's where it all gets staged and delivered and pulled and loaded.
Is that where the most people work?
No, not back in the day. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like a 4-to-1 ratio, like for all the stuff happening out in the yard. Now crazy. Most people work inside, and their operations have gotten so efficient. A lot different ratio now. But yeah, there's a lot of activity because we got to bring the material in, got to pull it, got to load it, got to stage it. Well, your dad, you working at the bar in the restaurant. I mean, it's the kitchen staff, right? They're behind the scenes making all the magic happen.
Yep.
Get very little of the credit.
Yep.
These two guys would be like the host.
We promise all the food.
They'd be the
and
bartender.
Somebody else actually delivering and getting it done.
They're the head bartender.
Exactly.
They're the head hostess. They're the waitress, whatever you want to call it. More like the hostess,
Yep.
right? Like, so they get all the credit. You know, it was such a wonderful meal. They're like, I didn't actually do anything, but thank you, right? Guy like he's grinding back there, like whatever. They don't even know what I do. So that's kind of the yard.
Yes.
All right, so you started in 09. I love this story. It's one of my favorite Drexel stories. So I had tried to hire Kurt in maybe 06.
Yeah, so I think
Right.
it was about then.
Right, and
When did you hire
so there's-
Steffes, basically, because that's when it was,
Yeah.
right?
So there was some recruitment process. ProBuild was not doing great. I had known that. I knew Kurt had a legendary reputation, not as good as at Red Granite and Gorillas, of course, but a legendary reputation.
Definitely not as good as Lehman, but
you-
I'm still working on it.
And we were only in Kiel at 2004, so we had to put our name in that Kiel Sheboygan market, right? So I knew of Jared Steffes. Shout out to Jared and Kurt. And we got Jared aboard, and it's like, hey, we got to get Kurt next. He's just as good as Jared, if not better. I thought you were going to say that.
Well, I wasn't going to make him
I
feel
thought you were
bad.
going to say that for sure. So anyways, let's go get Kurt. So Kurt's like, yeah, let me think about it, whatever, whatever. He didn't come aboard that time. And then the second time, he literally came aboard. He literally started telling his customers, hey, I'm doing this. And then got absolute cold feet at the extreme last second. After he told his builder to start filling out credit apps. Like, I got the desk set up. I got, like, his little pens in the can, right?
Yeah, I still feel bad about that, but
No,
I don't
whatever.
know. It
Everything works out, right?
Yeah, it
So-
did work out.
So in my recollection of the story, you can fill in the dots that your mind, might be different than your memory, or your reality was different than my reality. So what I think, what I know happened in my world was it's 2000, tail end of 2009. The economy is down in the dumpster. Market is 70% down, 7-0 for those of you listening. 70% down, the market is.
that was
So,
rough.
Yep, we're losing $300,000 a month at our new Brookfield store. Got it for peanuts. We knew they were losing a lot of money. Didn't know they were losing that
You were
much
still
money.
just in the process of making all that happen.
Yeah, right. No, so I mean, it's literally like, okay, how do we stop the bleeding? I mean, it's literally there's blood coming out of every pore. And I'm down there 70 hours a week plus. I got 3 little kids. One's in diapers. I can't believe my wife Pam honestly stayed married there that time, and it was tough. But I'm down there, and then I would come back here, and that's like when we didn't have, Joel was trying to do everything, so I would try to still run these stores. And Kurt called me just completely out of the blue. He's like, dude, I got to get out. So you guys went from Sheboygan, consolidated into Jackson, and just big corporate thing going, hey, let's just throw this all in the pot and make it work.
Right.
Well, now Jackson, it's called Kettle Marine. It's a boat shop. The Sheboygan store does what?
It's a Love's gas station now.
Yeah, and then the Lemira one Michael's bought. So that was probably at in their heyday, those 3 yards probably did $100 million.
It was a lot, yeah.
Right? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably $100 million.
Probably.
They literally are out of business. Right? So they're all gone in 10 years. Like totally gone. Sucked up and gone. But anyways, writing was on the wall. Sheboygan got shrunk to Jackson. Kurt was told, hey, go make it work at Jackson, right? Like,
Yeah, Jackson was a graveyard. That place was never seen anything like it.
yeah, I mean, it really was like no one wanted to be there. No one wanted to do anything.
Nobody
And-
wanted to
and
work.
nobody liked
You
each
couldn't
other.
get
Nobody
loads
cared.
out. It was, they're all
worst
just
case
waiting
scenario.
for the doors to close. That's exactly what it felt like, and that's
That's what
basically what happened. Yep.
Right. So Kurt saw that, called me, said, Joel, I want to come aboard. I'm literally, and I wasn't leverage. It wasn't like Kurt said no the second time around that, right? There's a girl that you're chasing, and she said no 100 times, and she's begging, please go on a date with me. And you're like, Holden's going, sorry. I was like, I wasn't even playing
Sure, you
that
get
card.
that all the time.
He does. Look at that guy. So I wasn't even playing that card. Like, oh, now I'm good enough. Like, I hope I never played that card.
Not at
but
all.
I was like, Kurt, I literally do not have a second to meet with you. And you were kind of like, dude, seriously? Like, kind of like again, the girl going like, dude, you were in love with me like a month ago, and now you don't even want to talk to me. And I'm like, you come down to Brookfield, let's get this done. He drove down. How long was the interview?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's, again, we've talked about in a lot of recent podcasts, Holden, right? Like the old Joel was so intense.
Hour, 45 minutes.
And now they're like 6 days with people. We have 12 people in the meeting. I think it's done very well now. It's a team effort. But yeah, it was maybe 5 minutes. And it was like, okay, go. And I never came. You didn't have orientation. He didn't have the shoe. He didn't have a playbook to read. It was like, just show up. Like, dude, I do not have time for you. And that was it.
You made a call to Steve, give him a phone. You said, Kurt, I trust you. If you trust accounts, just get going and get to work. I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes. And I literally did not care. I
cool.
did trust him, oddly enough. Like, I had a sense that he was going to be okay. But that was the interview and orientation was 5 minutes.
So how did you learn the processes?
That's a great question.
You know, because you got thrown into the fire.
Yeah. Just by diving into it, honestly. I mean, obviously Steve was there. Jared Steffes helped me a ton. But, you know, I just walked in the door. I saw everybody working and buzzing away at like 6 in the morning already. And I'm like, how cool is this, man? I felt like you threw me a life preserver at the time because I was in the dumps.
Yeah.
And
it was 09. It's like you don't even know if like life exists outside the building industry, right? I mean, that's kind of how everybody was.
Yeah, well, exactly. You were working your butt off trying to make $5, and it was just crazy.
And you talked to your vendor, like the suppliers, and they were in the dumps. And you guys remember that, right? Like there was nobody having a good time.
We
So
made it through it.
It made it through it, but it does kind of perturb me. I'll use that word. When people now that work at Drexel get this world, in my opinion, really good training. And can we do better with Jim Ingman and our gymnasium we're building and all that? You get that? Jim Ingman's going to do our training. We're going to call it the gymnasium. Did you catch that?
I know. Wow, yeah.
Caitlin, shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Caitlin. Yeah, the gymnasium.
Say it again, just for anybody who didn't.
Gymnasium. His name is Jim Ingman. He's in charge of our training facility.
I got it.
There you go. Thank you. See, it did take 3 times. It did take 3 times. So anyways, it does perturb me a little bit. And again, we're going to get better at training. I know we're not perfect. But they'll say, we need to have more training around here. Nobody taught me nothing. And I hear that. I wish I had more training. Nobody, but I can't do my job. And I'm like, we have the Kurt Dulmeses and the Jon Lehmans and the Joel Fleischmans. You have to have it. We can give you all the training you want, but there's so many things in this industry to learn. You got to want to learn. And we didn't have YouTube. My dad would say, go to the job site and just look around. That's how I learned. And that was okay. We can get better at that, and we've gotten better, and we can do better training. But again, training is about development of core value. I always tell people at the shoe, that's about you. Yeah. You got to take the time to learn yourself, and you got to have a curiosity.
With what you're saying there, Joel, because I remember when I started trying to pick up it's the cabinet lines that you already had that I wasn't familiar with. So literally start just paging through the spec book. I probably picked up the phone. God, they had to hate me at that time because I was probably calling 20 times a day.
I remember that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But our best people, Todd Flitter almost got shout out Todd. He almost got fired. I'll never forget when he started on Inside. He came from the yard, and he would ask. First, he'd ask my dad a question, and then he'd ask. And we were a very small office. And then he would walk over and ask me the question, and it was the same question. And then he would ask CJ the question, and then maybe tomorrow he'd ask me the question again. And I'm like, is this guy just stupid, Dad? He's like, I don't know either, but he's driving us all crazy, like you just said. What I realized
we all
is
know
Todd
you're
was
not
actually
stupid, Todd. You're awesome, man.
Todd was actually, and he still does that, but he's actually getting everybody's opinion and version of the training, right? So he's picking up 3 things from you and 2 things from you.
Yeah, now he's got a roundabout of, yeah.
Yeah, now he's like, okay, now I grasp it. Yeah, like, because there's different levels of knowledge and training too. So yeah, go ahead and finish your thought.
Well, other than saying you gotta want it, you're either all in or you're not. Don't expect to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen that way.
And it shouldn't. And again, the best go get it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't teach you everything. There's not a bubble. It's live bullets and it's going to hurt.
Yep.
You can't feel bad to fail.
It only hurts for a while.
I don't know if you guys are going to have an answer for this. This is curious because you guys have been selling stuff your whole life with millions of dollars, right? You create, I always say it this way, Little Camel Sport, you're doing more in business than most of the businesses in Camel Sport, maybe all of them. You do a lot of product, a lot of volume. Be very proud of that. But what's the biggest mistake you ever made? And do you vividly remember, like, I ordered this wrong, I did this, even ethically, spiritually, or even just financially? Oof. Do you remember the biggest mistake?
Yeah, nothing.
Or anything stick out?
Nothing ethically.
Not ethically.
Those are clear cut. You do right.
Well, no, I didn't think you had something ethically, but I click this and
probably the biggest. Every day is, I was going to say, a learning process. You're always learning. You're always growing.
I never feel comfortable at this job. Not for a day.
Yeah. through every single one of my client meetings, I learned something from it, you know. But just a straight up mistake. Yeah, I had ended up I ordered the wrong finish on a kitchen. That was way back. Really got out of it pretty well, in all honesty.
Client accepted it?
Client accepted it because we ended up buying the carpeting, I think, for their house.
Of course, something like that, right? Yeah. They probably still hate the
It was
finish.
like $3,500.
I always worry that when you do that, and I've done things like that, I just always worry about that they still hate their finish. Like they walk in the kitchen and they're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's always a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And some people do and some people don't, right? Some
Right.
people, I've actually had people, wow, I actually like it better, I hate to tell you.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a
a
win, right?
relief. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
Sure.
biggest bonehead.
How about yourself?
It's basically the same thing. Anybody remember an email going out from one of my superiors about why would you not get the color of your Corvette right before you order it or whatever? It's the exact same thing. Made a mistake on a window order. It was a big job. The client was completely not happy. We ended up eating it and,
Yeah.
live and learn.
They had to get new windows out there.
They had to get new windows and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think, I'm baiting you in this answer, but was the stress you put out because of that worth it?
Say that again.
Like
I mean,
all the worrying and stress that you did, and maybe you didn't. Maybe you're like, no, I moved over it. You guys are different. Like, was the stress that you put into that worth it?
At the time when it happens, yeah, you sweat it.
But is that worth it?
No, it's definitely not. Regardless
It's
of
human nature,
yeah,
obviously.
regardless of what happens during it, it feels so much better. So whatever the resolution is, even if you have to eat money and be an idiot for a while or whatever, it's good to have.
I have to say, you do have to stay very humble in this occupation.
What do you mean by that?
Because at any time you can't be arrogant because mistakes are going to happen.
That's a great
That's a good way to
point.
say it.
Mistakes are always going to happen. As hard as I try to dot every I, cross every T, and mistakes are always going to happen. So I try to stay very humble, admit that I'm human.
Do you remember Larry Stokes from Third Supreme?
Yeah.
Right? Dynamic guy, VP.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? VP was older gentleman, or at least he presented himself as older.
Yeah.
But cigars smoking,
Yeah.
white hair.
Yep.
Like that old school.
Heavier. I think he owned a cigar shop.
Yeah, I just was that guy, raw meat, some bourbon, just testosterone just oozing out of his guts, right? If anybody had a chance to be arrogant, was him. The high-end cabinet line, downtown Minneapolis for schmoozing, right? I'll never forget the first thing he said in front of the builders, and I've used it before. I wish I used it more often. He goes, "Hey guys, what'd you think of the Dura thing, right?" He's like, "Oh, great high-end cabinets." He says, "Great, we're awesome, right?" Smoking a cigar. He's like, "We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna screw up bad. Guarantee it. We're not good. We're not even perfect. We're not even close. But we're gonna fix it faster than anybody else, and we're gonna care about it, and we're gonna make it right." I was like, I'm using that for life.
Yeah, that was a whole.
And you have. I've used that. I've heard you use it, and I've copied you on it too. Yeah, we're gonna make mistakes, and just so you know, you screw up, I screw up. We're gonna be there to help see it through all the way to the end until you're, in the place you should have been before it happened.
I forgot about this. We have our 48-hour solution resolution, and we don't even use that enough. But that's really, resolving any problem within 48 hours. But what I need to teach people more often, or use myself more often, is you only have actually so many times for excellent customer service. The boring stuff, right? Getting out of the kitchen on time and in full and doing it right isn't really excellent customer service. That's just what's expected.
Right.
Your Friday night fish fry at Holden's dad place where he works, right? That's just like so when it actually comes out totally wrong, that's the time you can shine. But we don't realize it because we're worrying about ourselves.
Yeah.
We're worried about how it impacts us, how it makes us look. We're embarrassed, we're humbled, we have an ego. What are they going to tell their friends and family? Instead of our brain just going, oh, this is an opportunity. I just poured ketchup all over their shirt. I ordered the finish wrong and the windows are wrong. This is an opportunity to show us how much we care. And if we all remembered that every time something went wrong, we'd be so farther ahead and so much less stress.
Very good point.
Yeah. If I make a mistake, I really try to own up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But what you're saying, sweating it and
right. And I always think, like, if anybody
Beating
made a
yourself up.
mistake, it's like, first of all, fix the person. I always say fix the person first, then the problem. The person is always way worse than the problem. And the person might actually not even be mad about the countertop. they might be mad about their husband staying out late last night, or their weight gain, or their, whatever. I mean, just whatever.
Their circumstances.
Yeah, and they're just literally venting to you, and it just happens to be through the countertop. Right, so fix the person first and just listen and shut the hell up.
Yeah.
All right, so the reason I brought you guys on today, in episode number 25 means a lot to me. 25. It's the beer talking. Blah, blah.
Doesn't take long. It's good stuff.
Episode 5.
Yeah. That's how I write too.
He speaks shorthand.
That's how I write. I literally write like I don't finish the sentence. It just goes line.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
It used to happen to my dad. He'd be like, Joe, what does that say? I'm like, it's your own writing. I would laugh at him. No, it happens to me every day.
They call the customer back. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to finish the sentence. What did you say again?
Done that.
Yep.
So the real reason I brought both of you on, not only because you're incredible individuals, which you are, and veterans here of the company, which you are, and you really brought your, and I think we should, the veterans anyway, should go back to like team member numbers. I would be curious, like what team member number you were.
What is your jersey number?
Right, like were you 20? You're probably like 20. We have 600.
At the Berlin location, or not within the whole.
Well, if it's like two
company?
cabinet designers, I bet we were 50.
Yeah, I would guess we were around
team
that
member
50.
like 50, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we have
in
600.
that vicinity.
Kurt's probably 130, 150.
Yeah, I was just wondering back then.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
we probably had, right?
We've grown.
How many people do we have now?
600.
600
Just broke 600
people.
Did we really?
Feels like we're doubling almost every other year.
Yeah,
We
well,
are.
if you really think
It
about
does.
it, you really think about it, and it's great. What a crazy ride, right? So we've only owned Little Shit for 3 years. Shout out to them. Shout out to Amherst. We really have about 200 and some people in manufacturing.
Okay.
3 years ago, we had 0.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
really been the growth.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been an unbelievable growth. Had great news on offsite construction. Just bid out a bunch of jobs within a couple $100 of sticks versus offsite. So we have that totally
We're really
dialed
dialing it in. Yeah,
Really
more and more
dialed in.
people are getting excited about it. It's really
So kind of,
become a
minutia
thing.
for the pod, but it is what it is. So literally you might have heard that, we're $20,000 upside down on
Mm-hmm.
jobs, right? Like that's, like we do really good at Drexel, but saying all the negative stuff, quarterbacks are the worst at it. Like any negative, it's through the company in a second. Any positives? Yeah, well, whatever. I don't know, maybe. Is that real?
Delete.
I actually call it rain clouds. I really think we have a problem at Drexel, and mainly quarterbacks, is that every horizon in the west, everything coming towards us is these dark, deep clouds. We're a little high on the price. Right, if somebody quits, it's like, why did she quit? Like, big dark clouds coming, right? If we hire somebody, it's, well, who's going to train them?
Yeah.
They any good? Like everything's a dark cloud. If they get a job, they go, well, that's going to be a lot of work. That's really a big account. If they lose a job, they go, oh, that's really high price. Like when the hell do they see, in 35 years, when does the clouds ever hit us dark? Never. But yet the quarterbacks somehow have convinced themselves that no matter what happens, oh boy, I see that.
It's in our nature.
You
It's
see
the
that
fear of
thunder.
failure that drives us.
You see that
that's how it
thunder and
starts.
lightning over there? No, but I do think I challenge you guys as quarterbacks that somebody in the room goes, hey, hold on. What path are we taking here? What the hell's going on? It's not going to be that bad.
Right.
It's a good thing. Like, just chill out. I mean, I don't think anybody in the room says that. You guys all feed off each other going, yeah, I saw that cloud too. Looks like thunder. Might be a tornado in there.
It was nice while it lasted.
Yep, right. Like, oh yeah, here it is. It's finally the one. It's finally the one taking us down. Like, I just think there's a culture there that we have to really, really fix. So anyways, where I'm going to is $20,000 off. Kurt's heard about that. What really happened, which is really, really interesting, in the lumber yards across the state, you buy a bunk of lumber, right? Which buy a bottle of whiskey. You buy it, you mark it up, and you sell it. So that's an old cost called the weighted average, right? So we can all fundamentally agree with that. So in a volatile market, that was bought in August, quoted in October, sold in January. Let's call it $20 a sheet, right? Makes total logical sense.
Yep.
We bought it at 16.
Yep.
So $20 a sheet. The market was so volatile. We quoted it to the builder at $20 a sheet. True story, factual story. Amherst did the off-site construction of that exact same job. True story. They quoted sticks and off-site. $20 a sheet. Amherst should have bought it from the builder that was quoted it to Drexel. True story. We in Amherst bought it for 24. We should have called, because I'll get to that. They should have called the builder and said, just sell it to me for 22, it's $2 less. Who would have bought it from Drexel? Because in manufacturing, all manufacturing, not just our company, they just correctly use the market cost, which is what's going to come in 8 weeks, right? So that the market cost was $26. We sold it for $20. Cost, not sell. So we then we have to mark it up, so we're on $28.30 marked up.
Right.
So the gap, totally makes sense, because in manufacturing, they're like, well, I wouldn't use what's on the ground that's already sold to be built. I have to use what's going to be used to be built.
Just like I'm going to need.
Just like a Ford truck, right? They don't go, well, it's the widget here. That has nothing to do with the widget there.
Right.
So that's manufacturing. That was a 16. They double taxed it because there's use tax they forgot. So then we were only $15,000 high, and then it was $16,000 difference just in market cost.
Wow.
So it actually would have came in cheaper. Great story. It just excites the hell out of me with Paul's and Offsite and everything that we're doing. Anyways, the reason we have these guys on today, Holden and everybody, is these guys are very spiritual guys. I'm not saying the most too spiritual at work. I don't think God grades you on like what ranking of spirituality. And I could be wrong, and I'm sure you would both say we're all sinners, right? So we all got our evil sources. But I relate to these guys on a spiritual level. I know they bring God into work. I know, John, for a while you even did Bible study before work.
Yes, I did.
Right? In the shop.
Yep.
Right, on site.
We started at 5 a.m.
Kurt and I have talked about God a lot through the years, so that's kind of why I brought you guys on. Just God at workplace, and what that means to you guys, how it drives you, how it humbles you, maybe how you relate to it in a workplace, because it can be, for me it's confusing as hell, right? I swear like a sailor at work, that's probably not great.
Probably not.
I've heard a couple on the podcast.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I don't think God's loving that too much, so you justify things, which I think when you die and you meet God and Jesus and Mary and all that, and you're going through your life, which I guess you do, which sounds like a horrible experience. And I don't think there's a lot of justifying. Well, I was at work. Right, buddy?
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think Jesus is going, I died for that.
But you got to understand, I couldn't get my eye joist when I wanted it.
Yeah, I was just frustrated. It was a bad day. And I made everybody laugh with my F-bombs. It was funny.
Exactly.
It's funny. You're funny. Right? We're funny.
No, it's pretty clear that we're not going to really have a pretty good attorney when it comes to that time.
No,
so,
that's true. So, in fact, John, I just remembered this now. You were the only dry wedding I've ever attended.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ever. Yeah, in Oshkosh.
What kind of wedding?
No alcohol.
Oh.
Right. And it was an experience for me because I was used to.
That's why he's hiding his beer behind the sign here too, maybe, right?
I didn't put this here.
Yeah, it's okay. We're fine.
I started in February, and I had just gotten engaged to my wife, my beautiful wife.
Hi, Rebecca. Shout out.
Good call.
Everyone does that. Like,
Everyone does that.
And then it's like my beautiful.
Who I adore and cherish forever.
That's what like celebrities do.
They do, yeah. And then they actually are cheating on their wives. That's what I've always said. The more celebrity or sports star, I truly believe that's true. The more they go, and before I start, I want to, thank my gorgeous, beautiful, that always has my back. I swear he's cheating on her like crazy. And she's just going,
like
after you, bite me. Yeah, like J-Lo, like, oh, we're so madly in love. Thank you, honey. Yeah, I just think that's always just completely fake.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to make up for it on, Anyways, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying that I had proposed in January, interviewed in February, and ended up getting married in July. And
wow.
Yeah, I was already headed down that path, and I had invited Albert, Joel, and Craig. All of you showed, and we had a dry wedding.
I love going to work weddings. Still, I haven't done it in COVID, but still occasionally get invited. Doesn't mean every one of you have to invite me.
Yeah.
But I do love going to work weddings when I can make it, and they are always fun because you get to see their family and friends and their environment. And it's pretty cool, and always very honored to be even asked because there's only so many limited tickets. So that was great. Yeah. So awesome. So anyways, I don't know how to begin this exactly. I mean, it's always tough to start with a God thing, but where do you you guys knew this was going to be about God? So where do you how do you bring God into the workplace, or what do you think the responsibility is as a Christian?
I think you're going to bring.
You guys are all Christians, right? Nobody's Buddhist here or something.
Yeah. Yep.
What sect are you actually? I mean, I really don't care. I'm not one of those folks.
I'm non-denominational.
You're non-denom. Well, really?
Evangelical.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been real. It's been real, John. Thank you. different podcast.
Yeah.
And you're what?
Evangelical free. So we were Reformed, and our church just switched over just a little
How
while
do you
ago.
switch over? You just call some? What do you call?
Board members made a call.
Yeah.
Don't call the
yeah,
priest.
basically.
Like, what do you do?
Kind of punch out of one and
Yeah.
Yeah.
punch into
Same
the
church
other.
though?
Yeah.
Different pastor then?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Our pastor was switching with us, but he retired in the meantime,
Okay.
and yeah, some things went on at
What's
church.
it called?
Evangelical free.
Is that like really, that's like the Dutch hardcore, right?
Not really, not so much. I think it's pretty much nationwide, and honestly, I'm still learning about it. But
What's the-
like
what's-
I
what's
was
the branch of
Reformed, and
that?
that's kind of like Dutch hardcore.
Okay,
That's
okay.
where you got the Book of Church Order, and anything
Yeah,
you could
the
ever
Reformed is the
possibly.
Dutch thing.
Yeah,
What's
Okay.
the difference between like non-denomination and evangelical?
They don't believe in, they barely believe in God. It's like water versus wine. No, I'm just kidding.
basically, I mean, I shouldn't speak for you, but I mean,
I'm totally joking.
you're your own church, right? Jesus believing, and you're not
Yes.
affiliated
Yeah.
with any.
In John's words, that's a good question.
Like you're not believing.
Ask the question ask
we're-
the question
we're
without
not
Kurt and I.
affiliated
My
with
apologies.
non-denom- or with any specific denomination. Our church actually has Baptist roots, okay? But I guess long story short, we believe in Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and we believe in the Bible. The Bible is our sacred word.
Ask the question again, and Kurt and I will shut up.
What's the difference between evangelical and non-denomination? I heard his side. Now, what's evangelical?
Evangelical means that we're just associated with other churches who are like-minded. Still absolutely 100% Bible believing, but more things come down from, I don't know, the top, if that makes sense.
Where was it started? I really don't know a lot.
I don't really know,
Okay.
honestly. Very similar to Reformed, very similar to Baptist, honestly. But yeah, we just had to make a switch because the Reformed church was going in a direction that we didn't feel.
Where did
we
you
were-
guys both grow up, religious-wise? Or were you born and raised as?
I was still non-denominational.
Same, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was born and raised Reformed. And
Right. So that's always interesting, as you kind of do a spiritual dance yourself, or all kids do, right? Like, and you should. Like, that was always been my question when I was young, or even still. So you're just, probably 75% of the people are just born into the religion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, then is religion even real? Like, so if I would have been born Buddhist, I'd just be Buddhist? So it's always an interesting thing. I don't think we'll get there today, but I think that's interesting. I was born Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
And you're Catholic today?
Catholic today, yeah.
Mhm.
Same church I was born and raised in, actually, which is kind of crazy. Not
Yeah.
baptized in, I was baptized in a different church, but yeah, long standing Catholic, so.
Yeah, very similar to me. It's been brought up to me in the past too. You're only that way because you were raised that way, and well, you know what? Thank the Lord I was raised that way.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
the faith thing, and I don't think you're judged by that, but there's just different things, and I think we'll learn when we die why we were this way or that way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with anything, I mean, that's not saying the Native Americans we're going to go to hell because they didn't know about Jesus, and I'm not saying, and I don't think we did that right, like dumping people on Jesus or we're going to kill you, when that all went down, but
A lot of things went down that didn't go right.
yeah,
that's for sure.
I think that some of the priests and people had good intentions, but again, it's more like, we're here. I think you're blessed with faith. I think that's a great thing, and I just don't think some people are blessed with faith. I don't think that's anything against them. But anyways, okay.
Some people just haven't ever, have never actually heard
Yes,
the word.
Right.
It's never been presented to them.
and that's not their fault.
No.
Right. I do think there's an obligation once you have faith, though, and then rebuke it. Well, I say it this way. I do think spirituality or being a believer has a responsibility, which God knows. And I think, okay, if you want to talk about hell or all this stuff, I do think it's kind of like having kids. If you know the rules and break it, you're in a lot bigger trouble than if you don't know the rules.
To a point. I mean,
Especially
yeah.
after
If
been
you
told 1,000
if you reject Jesus, then yeah.
Oh, and
I think it is
and again,
different
I
than
think
if
about
you
like
never
having a
heard
kid,
of it,
like,
yeah.
and I'll go to this, and Jon Lehman, our kid, right? Like, I've told you 1,000 times. Let's just look at this. I gave you this clue here, this hint here, this mass here, and you just kept going. Yeah, but I think you suffer a lot. I think there's a lot less mercy for that person, if you will, than the person that lives a good life and just doesn't know. But that's a little way weedier than I wanted to get. Okay, so God at workplace. way deeper than I
Yeah.
thought this was going. You didn't follow me on that?
Where are you going with that? I led a better life, so
No. I think if like you have faith, okay, yeah, to finish that thought, I think if you have faith, and you know, let's say the Bible and the Scripture, and God's kind of encouraging you along a path, and you keep fighting Him and ignoring that, I do think you may be judged tougher at some point after you die, and I don't know what that means.
Well,
and I don't want to talk like heaven hellish, but I do think
But I
if
think
you want to
I
make
did
God,
talk heaven hellish.
yeah, I do. I think again, Bible wise, yeah, there is a hell, right? If Jesus says there's a hell, and you believe what Jesus said, well, then there's a hell. And I do think, like, if you're literally just, what you should be doing, and you just keep conflicting all the messages, and I do think God gives you little bumps and reminders, and you keep ignoring it, I think you're judged much harshly after you die than a person that lives a good, harmonious life and wasn't aware of anything of Scripture, let's call it.
Yeah, I'd question if you're actually saved then. If you've received Christ as your personal Savior, but you continue to make choices to reject Him,
I'd be scared to death, literally.
then I question, are you truly saved?
Right.
Which scares the crap out of me.
Crap.
Right? Like it should scare.
crap.
Again, when you fear the Lord, I think that's what, because you should never fear the Lord, like you should be loving and all that. But I think that's what it means by fear the Lord, because we're all sinners.
Yeah.
So we all should have that background of fear, like, man, I'm not the best.
Yeah.
And I know what I should be doing. So thank God for that. And again, why I'm so grateful all the time. It's like, thank you for the mercy of God, because I need it really bad.
Basically, thank you to what Jesus did,
Yeah.
If it wasn't for what He did, we can't be good enough. We can't follow all the rules that were in the Old Testament. Nobody could. I mean, that's just the whole thing, so.
So back to work. How do you
Yes.
incorporate your thoughts, these conversations, if you will, yet be you,
Well,
right? Like, yet not impose.
Actually, I'm fairly fortunate. I had a really nice conversation this morning with a team member about, just about God and, the influence in our lives, about a decision he had to make, which was very difficult for him.
Personal or business?
Personal.
Okay.
For him, but he felt as though it was the right decision for him from a faith standpoint.
He came to you with that?
Well, it ended up in conversation this morning, but I'm very fortunate, I can rattle off quite a few people that I know genuinely have, that are believers,
But I feel you fostered those relationships versus that it just innately happened. I'm not saying that just like you stumbled into them. I think you fostered them. Is that fair?
I think that's fair, and I would say you had mentioned the Bible study, the men's group that we had at work just a few years back and stuff. I was actually at church, felt like I should be doing this. Why? Okay, was really, I was actually fighting it. I was fighting it.
Are you getting emotional right now?
I am.
Oh man,
I am.
Isn't this the guy that best?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's who I am. But I was fighting it.
That's how it works. The Holy Spirit comes down, and you're like,
Well,
I pray to take this burden away. I pray every day. I'm like, please, not so much.
I think back about it, and I was like, oh man. So I'm going to go to Joel, which we really didn't have, I would say, we didn't have maybe the spiritual connection or understanding you're a believer, I'm a believer.
Well, we talked about this in a lot of pods. There was a different Joel.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was like rebaptized or anything, but like Joel didn't bring that to work.
Yeah. So at the time, I'm feeling like this press from the Holy Spirit that I should be doing this. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And then, again.
That's how it works.
And again, I felt it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So finally, I'm like, all right. Had a conversation with my wife, and I'm like, okay, I really feel I'm supposed to do this. I'm like, I don't know.
Was she supportive or kind of like?
Oh yeah, she was totally supportive.
She's great that way.
Oh yeah. My faith has actually grown because of her.
Okay, that's how it should work.
In my life. So anyway, I shoot out the email to Joel and said, hey, I feel like.
Which again that's when we were more of an email company too. like now that's comical. Like if you would email it to me now, I'd be like, the F? Like what's up, dude? But back in the day, like when emails first came out, I was getting like 500 every day. We're good.
So I ended up shooting you an email, said, hey, I just want you to know I was in church, felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me I should be leading a men's group at work. And I said, hey, that was pretty much it.
What was my response?
Huh? You said, how am I supposed to argue with that?
Yeah, that's right. No Bible studies. Yeah, right. No, that's
It
true,
was
though.
actually, how am I supposed to argue with that? So I
Right.
said, all right. So, and then we went for a couple of years.
Why did it break apart? Just natural thing?
Yep. Yeah,
Organically.
It was more of a natural thing. We had gone through a few different studies.
Yeah. I think those things.
There was about 6 to 8 of us.
I think those things come and go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling a little. Maybe this
Bring
is
it back?
Yeah.
interesting. And sometimes I think Bible studies should be just in small bites. You know, you don't go to school forever.
Exactly.
So it's like we're going to do a series.
Yeah,
Right? Like
I
we're doing a
believe-
6 weeks. Like if you did it again, I feel like I should say that. I feel like sometimes like a 6 week series, right? And then that gives you as a leader of the group saying, these are the 6 weeks we're going to do, and let that ripple effect happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's actually another gentleman at Drexel that we go to the same church together. I know he's leading a Bible study in his house.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Impactful.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff Catholics, us arrogant Catholics, we don't do any of that, right? Like we, the non-denoms are like owning all that. And we're like,
I got one at
I don't know, we
6:30
just-
tonight.
I don't know. We just go to Stations of the Cross and we have all these rituals and things, and we don't have to do all that other stuff. Yeah, we fail at a lot of that stuff. So that's funny, right? Kind of.
Yeah. No.
So how about for you?
Pretty similar, honestly. I haven't been at a Bible study at Drexel, which now I'm starting to feel. Back when I was at ProBuild, I led one, but just kind of, like you say, some come and go. I've been in one that I'm not in currently, but probably one that was same guys for like 15 years.
15 years. How
Yeah.
often?
Once a week.
Wow, that's a big commitment.
It was, but
That's
it was
real.
also like, one of the best parts of the week, too.
Yeah. You ended up looking forward to it.
Yeah, you did. Because it was like people that you could be real with that weren't going to judge you and,
Yeah.
or that, if they judge you have it coming, that would hold you accountable for things, that you
And
asked
you
to
actually-
be held accountable.
I have a feeling you knew God was present,
Oh, yeah.
that's why you wanted to go.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
So how do you bring it into the workplace? Like what examples, or how are you not afraid to bring it up, or again, just who you are? It just overpours, or what is it?
I think so. One thing that I would say is, technically, I guess my thought process is if you're not practicing it in your personal life, you're probably not going to bring it to work, Joe.
Well, yeah, you're not. Well, or
Right.
you'd be a very big hypocrite.
Yes.
One of both.
Exactly. So I think it has to start on a personal level, as far as people practicing it at home and, doing what is, I say what's right, but,
What's in your heart?
Yeah,
what you're
doing
called
what's
to
in
do.
your heart when nobody's around,
Right.
when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
And then,
Although God's always looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to honor God and what you do with everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and-
kind of a different level. I'm sorry to interrupt,
You go
but,
ahead.
I work for Drexel. I work for my family. I work for Joel in a sense, but, I work for God. What I do, I have to put kind of on that higher level all the time. It kind of guides my thoughts and actions. And don't get me wrong, I make plenty of mistakes, and people that I work with see it, get a bad attitude or whatever, but also they know who I am and what I believe in, so it keeps me accountable to stay that way too.
Yeah, our faith is very real to us because we believe in God doesn't mean that we are perfect by any means.
Exactly.
Some days are better than others. There's times when when I speak, I'm like, yeah, that probably wasn't a great choice of words right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It can be difficult to balance, though. You get driven by work and that, I don't know if it's idolatry sense, right? If the Bible term, or what that is. But I try now to wake up and say prayers right away, and that's just recent, because all of a sudden you're on work,
yeah.
and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm very fortunate with my work is that I'm in a vehicle a lot, and that is my number one thing to do when I'm in the vehicle. Radio's off, praying.
So how do you pray, if I can ask?
A lot of actually, I guess it's interesting that you'd say that, because people think that prayer it's nothing more. it's nothing more than conversation with God. That's all it is. It's conversation with God. You know, He wants to hear what you need help with. You know, praise Him. You know, pray for others when, you know, it's intercessory prayer, praying for others. It's just talking.
Right.
It's nothing more than talking.
There was a pope.
Because there's no clear, you know, cut.
Right, how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I had there was a pope, and I don't know which one, not that you guys would care, but that said, you know, they asked him, well, how do you pray a lot? How do you pray? What do you do? And he said, well, I listen. And then they said, you know, well, what does God say to you? He goes, oh, He listens. I thought that was so beautiful. Like, I try to do that. You know, I think I'm a hunter, you know, and I think that's so beautiful. Like, when I turn off the radio in the car, well, I listen. And then what does God say? Well, He listens. Like, I think that's the perfect marriage, when it's just that open
I think that's awesome.
communication. If you can stay that focused for that long, that lasts for me for about 15 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my brain
Well, you know,
is way
it
too
takes
ADD.
practice.
Oh, the devil is so good. If I start
It takes
praying,
practice.
I get bad thoughts right away. I'm like, oh man, this is bad.
Yeah.
But that's how that goes.
Yeah, it takes practice, and sometimes
It does. You're good, better than me, maybe.
And I would say that in the beginning you can get frustrated like a squirrel, and then all of a sudden you come back and be like, oh, what just happened?
Yeah.
Well, start
Wasn't I
over.
praying 5 minutes ago? Where'd my brain go? Yeah,
it's,
for
and it's
sure.
way bad. Like me, I go dark. Like, I don't go good.
But yeah, I'm with you. If there's things that I'm praying before a lot of phone conversations, I'm praying before a lot of job meetings, I'm praying for people that I see are hurting, you know, sometimes praying with them, honestly, depending on if they let me.
So
Trying to be very thankful for, you know, everything that goes on.
I used to be really anxious before I publicly spoke. And people have told me I'm a very
Really?
good public speaker. Yeah, right? Like, I can really hold my own on public
You're
speaking,
darn right
right?
you can.
Damn good. And, you know, I used to get pretty nervous. I wasn't really that good. And as you guys would say, I had a conversation with God. And I was praying before an event, and, you know, the anxiety was starting to get to me. You know, I'm just like, wow, okay, it's 20 minutes out. You know, like 600 people or whatever it was. I don't even remember the event exactly. I don't remember I said, okay, deal. I'll bring your name up, but this is your show now, not mine. And ever since then, normally when I public speak, if you notice, I usually bring up God at some point. I'm like, I'll evangelize, I'll help you, but now it's your show. So your word's not mine. And since I've done that, I'm so much more relaxed. And if I can really think and really pray before a little bit, doesn't take long, and reconnect that, yeah, like the words just flow. It's easy.
Yeah. The other thing I'm very good at is I try to make sure I give Him the credit for every sale I close. Every single one.
Thank you,
How
Lord.
do you do that?
What's that?
Like, how do you
Give Him thanks. Literally say, thank you, Jesus.
Right.
You know?
I'm with you there too.
Oh, absolutely.
Another B24.
Yep.
What's that?
Another B24.
Yep.
Base cabinet 24 inch.
Thank Him for how this conversation went.
Whatever.
Swings left. He's probably like, whatever. It's a B24.
Yeah,
We're fine.
B20.
It's good.
No, but every single one.
Yeah.
I do. A lot of times in emails, I'll actually put, I hope you have a blessed day.
Right. And for you, that means more than maybe they're taking it, which you're fine with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're getting
Kinda
your way
just
across.
Dropping it.
Yeah, it is. It's seed planting.
Yep.
Exactly.
The ripple effect.
Blessings. Tell people you're praying for them after a conversation where they just had something rough happen. You know,
I can help you out with that one. Actually, I learned this. So people say, you know, they're having hard times, so I'll pray for you. It's often a lie, right? I mean, you guys are
Agreed.
prayers, right? So somebody told me that once, and which is true. It's like, well, I kind of forgot, but I told you. And again, it comes across that way. So, and now, and I do it now, I say, I'm praying for you right now. Phone hits the ground or the email gets sent. I'm praying for you right
That's a
now.
good
And
point.
I pray for them intentionally right that moment, and now I can move on with my day.
Yep.
And then I did. And I think it's more impactful to that person.
And-
Like, I'm praying for you right now.
when I say it, then I do it so I don't forget, like
Correct.
in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never thought about the.
And even just
right
telling
now.
them, like, I'm praying for you, because they say, I'll pray for you. It's like, oh, everybody prays for me. I'm praying for you right now. It's like, oh, thank you.
Yep. But yeah, that's the way to put it in practice, or I might forget.
Yeah,
and
right,
Then
right.
it is a lie. So it's
Right.
like I say it, and then it's going on in my head.
That when I do it right, not saying I do that all the time, but when I do it right, when I remember to do it.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. So, pretty big deal for you guys.
Yeah. It's the biggest.
Yeah.
It is.
That's great. I agree.
It really
I agree.
is.
So let's move on to I think we got to keep moving on, right?
Yeah.
God would just let us do this all day.
Time.
55 minutes.
Yeah, see? God would let us do this all day. Wow. Yeah, that's how it works. God doesn't really have time or care.
Yeah, he's outside.
I've learned that.
time, right?
And I've learned that, that doesn't really bother him very much. And very patient. Much more patient than me. I wasn't blessed with any of that. So we're going to move on to the billboards. We've all heard about it. You know about it. But for the first time listeners, you get one big giant billboard. You can put on whatever you want about it. Anything you want. We've had people that have just put a picture up. We've had quotes. We've had their own quotes. Funny, humorous, whatever. So what's your quote? What's your Bible? What's your billboard? Maybe none of that stuff. What is it? John?
Mine. Are you ready for this?
He's going to cry already. You got to get some tissue. This is
Nope,
coming.
I'm not gonna. I'm not.
All right,
gonna.
all right.
Oh, are you going to do it?
Men, love your wife for all of your life. Women, choose wisely.
Explain.
Well, I didn't know you were doing the billboard towards the end,
Okay.
but really, it's a call to all men.
They're not the pod. They don't follow the pod, Holden. Obviously. Maybe they will now. They're busy
We
praying.
have to check people at the end.
They're busy
You
praying.
know, I'm not gonna lie.
that's
I haven't
okay.
watched one of the podcasts.
Yeah, they're busy praying. That's okay. It's not okay. So it's
Does
not.
that reflect poorly on me right
No,
now?
it's not about. I've always thought it's not about quality. It's about or quantity. It's about quality. Hitler had millions of followers. Jesus had 12. So follow your quality, not your quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Good social media thing. You can use that if you want. All right. So yeah. So explain your billboard.
Well, hopefully that if some women do watch all the way to the end, I'm getting some hooting and hollering and some cheers for that one. But in all honesty, it's really a call to all men to rise up in their God-given role as leaders in their family, as providers and protectors of their families, and also, unfortunately, I think divorce is running way too rampant. I don't think people take marriage as seriously as what it is meant to be. And
It's hard work.
It's really hard work.
And the second you give
Really
up, it's
hard
over,
work.
in my opinion.
And
It's kind of like people that
they
you work
need
with.
to rise up. I mean,
Once they're out, they're out. Like it's just not going to go. So it's kind of like work. Like you've seen people at work where it's like they start punching out. I'm looking for a new job. Like once you start doing that, you're done.
yeah.
Like I don't think I'm happy with my wife. Well, once you start doing that,
Yeah, it's a downhill slide
That's
from there.
that's a devilish thing.
Yeah, and my wife and I have been through some real difficult times, but that's never a consideration. And you know what I was going to say? Our children, we say that they idolize athletes or actresses or actors, whoever be the case. But honestly, they're watching mom and dad. They're watching that. They want to know that they're protected. They want to know that mom and dad are going to be just fine and that they're protected.
I think I was on a different pod. Maybe I didn't say it, but I just read it recently. I think that's so true with husband and wives. True for anybody is how it was wrote, but husband and wives. So don't think about the little things you do for your spouse and the little ways they annoy you. Think about the little things they do for you and the big ways you annoy them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you thought about all the little stuff your wife did for you and all the big ways you annoy them is so much better. And we're all doing this because we think it, but we for sure have buddies that live it. All they think about is how their wife
Right,
annoys
how
them
they
in
think
little
they're
ways and all the big ways they've helped their wife. I do all this stuff. Can't say shit because it's like a holy podcast.
Right.
I do all this shit for my wife, and she does this and this and this and this. It drives me nuts, right? And we all do that when we're venting with the guys, and I'm sure the wives do that when they're venting with their girls. But really, we should be saying, I'm so thankful for all that little stuff they do, and all this big stuff that I'm a complete moron about.
Yeah.
And if we could change our minds, that's a big one.
And we should have the mindset that it's non-negotiable. Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, I agree.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. we
No,
made
thank
a
you. That's
covenant.
great.
It's basically what it boils down to. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do near as good as you did. I'm sorry. I guess, like I said to you before, it's like do your work like you're working for the Lord. I really try to take that seriously every day.
So what's your billboard? Say it. What's this?
You're working for the Lord, I guess. I don't know. Something like that.
Work for the Lord?
Yeah.
You're working for the, he's a salesman, maybe not a poet.
Right.
You're working for the Lord.
Nobody ever
Work for
accused
the
me
Lord.
of that.
Okay.
But yeah, it starts with, like you say, when you get up in the morning, say prayers, do a devotion, get to work, be kind to people, try not to throw all your stress on others and jack them up and things are going wrong or if they make mistakes. You do your best to have integrity and to be ethical and to make all your promises, see them through, or, follow up with people, apologize when you screw up and be sincere.
The little stuff.
Yeah, every day.
Right. And again, I think I said it before, but I call that the ripple effect. I do think you saying something really nice to somebody might change them, and they change somebody else, and they change somebody else. And somebody now at the drive-thru is getting a better day because you started it down the right path. And if we're all working together that way, it's amazing.
That's what I always do at Dairy Queen. Whenever I take an order, I always give them a compliment just in case they're not getting that.
It's good practice.
That's awesome.
Yep.
It's good cat. No, and there's a ripple, right? Like they might lean
Exactly.
over to their spouse and be like, "You have pretty eyes." You don't know how that goes, right? Like that for sure happens. And I do, I don't know if I ever go an episode right now without talking about the pandemic, but it's all in our lives. I think we're missing that part, the little stuff, because we're masked up and we're separated.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
And so if you're not being positive, I don't think there's any neutral in the world. So if you're not being positive, you're not saying good morning, you're not holding the door at Quick Trip, and you're not opening the door, and you're not saying, "What's up, how you doing, nice beautiful day out today," and you're masked up and the heads are down, I truly believe this pandemic, the devil is making large strides on our souls. I think he's happy as hell, literally.
Yeah,
I agree with
people are
that.
living in fear.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, and
Right.
that's probably something that's been going on forever, but this just really amplifies it up. You really
Well, like I
see-
said, the devil's been fighting for our souls, and now he's
I
like,
know.
"Oh, I got him now."
Yeah.
Now their heads are down. Now they're not making eye contact.
Now they're not even going to
they're
church.
not even
they
trying.
might watch it on a video instead.
Yeah,
just
they're
like
they're
ever.
scared to go to church.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I just shouldn't say I yelled. I encourage our local priests. So I think the Catholic Church totally failed. Right, biggest church in the world. And we believe in our sacraments, and we believe in that we have to go to church and mass. Right? I mean, a lot of people do, but we've completely failed in the pandemic. I mean, within 2 weeks, our churches were shut and no sacraments. Oh, hell no. They had the one chance in my lifetime so far to be like, we don't listen to government. We don't listen to science. We're not scared of death. We believe in Jesus. We believe in the sacraments, and we believe in the church.
Right.
Death or not death, we are having First Holy Communion. We are having a church full of people. Bring it on. What are you going to do? We're the Catholic Church. They had one chance, and what did they do? Lock their frickin' doors within 48 hours in most parishes.
It wasn't just the Catholics, my friend, but yeah.
I agree, but again, they
Yeah.
have the biggest scope, right? Like maybe
Right.
if the Catholics would have did it, the smaller, denominations might have considered different.
Right.
Well, the Catholic churches, we're not shutting down, and again, maybe not they. We all failed in some degree. I really feel we did, and I think there's gonna be another chance.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
guaranteed.
our first
Well,
shot.
now that they, like you say, the devil saw how well it worked.
Yeah,
Gonna
why
keep
not?
working on it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're
All
gonna
right.
have to decide and stand up.
So last words, guys. You guys get them. What do you want to? Anything else you want to add to this? Any words of advice to people listening?
Pray a lot. Go to church. Associate with people who do the same thing and hold each other accountable.
And I'll say is if anybody has any questions about the conversation we had today,
Right.
reach out to Kurt, John, or Joel. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you want to know more about the Lord.
No one's
Perfect.
ever ended it that way, have they? These guys are good.
Yeah.
These guys are good. They're legit. They're legit. All right. Well, God bless you guys. It was
God
wonderful.
bless you.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you.
opportunity.
All right,
Yeah,
awesome.
this is
Thank you. Great. Thanks.